What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ariel if you didn't know. So today's video, I am super excited about today's video because I have learned some new things and that's basically what this video is going to be about. There are so many things that we were taught when we got certified, whether it was like 10 years ago, whether it was 4 years ago, last week. There are a lot of things that we're taught not to do, and it's changing. The world is changing, the world of lashing is changing, and we have to like roll with it. And there are some things that we were super adamant on, do not do, and now people are being a little more open-minded and they're not as damaging as we thought, or whatever the case is. So this video is going to be strictly about all the things that we were taught not to do, and now the things that we are okay to do. So let's just get into it. Okay, so first things first, I do want to say that these are things that are very new, and a lot of the times these can be a little bit more opinionated, if that makes sense. So a lot of these things are based on new styles, new things coming, the lash world evolving, and just the way things we thought should have been done don't necessarily fall into the category of these new ways, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna obviously get into the nitty-gritty of it all, but I just want to say that of course there are things that we are taught to do, and when we are trained there are certain things that are no-nos, and we still want to follow the general rules, but in this scenario there are circumstances where things are allowed or certain things have changed. So let's just get into number one. Okay, so my very first thing that I want to talk about is the fact that we are all evolving into getting into strip lashes. There's strip lashes, that is like the style, that's like the thing, that's like the go-to right now, is being able to create these strip lash looks. And to be honest, it is not easy. It's definitely tricky. I applaud anyone out there that can recreate a strip lash. It is amazing. And I think that it's such a talent and such a skill to have, especially like I said, the way things are evolving, the way things are changing. Obviously lashing is 10 times more popular now than they were before, and that comes with change and growth and all that. So I think that being able to accomplish those strip lashes is a big deal. But this is what I'm saying, is that there are certain things we were taught not to do that actually are required to create these looks. So for instance, what I'm talking about is those spikes that everyone's talking about, that textured look, creating that definition in those spikes. I know a lot of people have questions on how to do that, and I have definitely been practicing on my own, but there are little things that you have to do to ensure you get the right spikes. And one of the biggest things we were all taught in our trainings is that your bases need to be thin and pointed and bloomed out into a tapered base, so that that needle-like base can easily be applied to your natural lash and there's no lashes touching it, so there's no stickies and all that good stuff. But to accomplish your strip lash look, you need spikes. And the thing about the spikes is that when you pick them up, you're not blooming the lashes because you're trying to keep them as tight held together as possible to get that definition, and with that comes a non-tapered base. So it's like this flat base that is just bunched together, and unfortunately it's not tapered. And that's the whole idea, is that now it's okay to put on a non-tapered lash or a non-tapered fan, even though it's not necessarily a fan, it's a spike. So now we're referring to things as spikes versus fans because yes, they're using maybe the same amount of lashes, but it's a completely different technique. And as much as we thought that creating fans was so difficult, sometimes just creating these spikes are so difficult. So my point here is that it is okay now to actually apply a fan or a spike that is a flat base. Now, what I mean by that is that that's when you're creating a certain set, when you're going for a certain style. That doesn't mean every single one of your lashes are gonna look like that, because unfortunately, the whole purpose behind that was to not have stickies, and if you're doing that, you're obviously gonna end up with stickies because the bases are going to be too close to each other and they're gonna get stuck to one another. So with that being said, you wanna make sure that you're doing these things, and yes, these exceptions can help you in a lot of ways, but you wanna make sure that you're doing it in a way that doesn't affect the natural lashes and doesn't damage your client's lashes. So what I mean is, just if you're gonna put a spike and then make sure the rest of the lashes are tapered and they do have that pointed base, so that way you're still getting that clear definition between each natural lash and each extension, so nothing's stuck together. Make sense? Okay, number 2. So my second my second thing that we were taught not to do that's okay to do now is the idea of lashing baby lashes. Okay, I feel like this is like a big deal and it's like such a thing, but we have recently done some research and looked up on this, and apparently it's okay to lash baby lashes. That being said, that doesn't mean you throw yourself a 0.25 on a baby lash. No, that is not what we're saying here. I'm gonna refer more to classics at this point because I think it applies more so to classics, because I definitely wouldn't throw a fan on a baby lash. I think it's more so if you're applying a classic set, and obviously back in the day, 10 years ago, whatever it is, we all had not that many lashes at our disposal, not that many variations at least. So there was your 0.15 and your 0.20, and obviously those are heavier lashes. They will damage your baby lashes. Even today, they will damage your baby lashes. So what we're saying is that there are so many variations today where there are way lighter lashes. There's your 0.03, your 0.05, your 0.07, and anything in between. But the idea is that if you have your baby lashes in a classic set, you can take, let's say you have a 0.05 and you pick up 1.05 lash and you apply it onto the baby lash. And that could be in between 2.15 lashes, and you apply that one extra lash. That gives you that fullness, and it does take up space in between those lashes. And that way you can get your clients to have fuller classics and a nice, maybe like it would add like a textured look, right? But it just uplifts your classic a lot more without having to damage your client's lashes. You're filling up more space, you're not damaging their lashes, it looks great. You're not worried about having gaps, and to be honest, those little ones probably will last a lot longer than the 0.15s or 0.20s because they're so light, and they'll probably adhere really nicely. So that could help your client's retention as well. So these are like really cool things to think about when you're gonna do your next classic. Try putting on a 0.03, 0.05, or even 0.07, obviously depending on the baby lash, how long it is, how healthy it looks, and then you can kind of determine between that. But I think that's a really cool tip on how to perfect your classics, because a lot of people have this problem where their classics are not full enough, and a lot of the times it's because we're trying to avoid those baby lashes. But this kind of gets us around that, and that way we're able to apply more lashes without any damage. Okay, and number 3. So this one is, I feel like this could be up for debate, but I've seen a lot of different opinions on this. And my third one is basically about your So my third one is all about your adhesive. So I've seen a lot of debate about this. There's a lot of ups and downs. People have different opinions. But the idea is that right now, after however many trials, what's the word I'm trying to find here? Trial and errors. Apparently, you don't necessarily have to stop your client from getting their lashes wet. So before, the rule was do not get your lashes wet for 24 hours, 48 hours, sometimes people say like 72 hours. But the whole thing now is that even for me, when I've done my own adhesive research, adhesive doesn't dry the way glue dries. It doesn't just dry, it actually cures. And the idea is that the adhesive cures by the moisture in the air. So technically the water doesn't necessarily stop your lashes from drying. It could actually help the lashes to dry. I wouldn't recommend you go out there and like get your lashes extremely wet, but we don't necessarily have to tell our clients don't get them wet for 24 hours or they can't shower for like 2 days. I think that you can totally go and shower, you can totally get them wet, just don't drench them until they're probably completely dry. Nowadays we use things like nano misters, and nano misters are actually water, right? So that's gonna ensure that your adhesive dries faster. That's the whole point of using the nano mister, is so that your adhesive cures. And if you're able to put mist on your lashes like that, especially right after they're applied, there's not really an issue where you can go in the shower a couple hours later. Like, that's usually okay. So the whole thing is that we don't necessarily have to completely shun our clients from water after getting their lashes applied. Now, I do think this does depend on your glue and your adhesive and what your manufacturer's instructions are. Obviously, always read the instructions based on where you purchase your glue because they'll know the best. But generally speaking, we don't necessarily have to tell our clients to completely don't get them wet, don't shower, don't wash your face, don't do anything. I think it's okay to like let them do their regular things, just don't overdo it. Make sense? Okay guys, that is it for this video. I hope that this was insightful. I thought it was really cool to see how things have changed and how things are starting to evolve, because that's a really cool thing to see how all these things that we were told not to do are suddenly okay to do, but obviously within reason. So I think that this is something we should all think about, like when we're doing our next set, when you're trying something new. Definitely, you know, you want to stick to the rules, but it's okay to kind of try something new every once in a while. So even for me, my favorite is that classic lashes. I love that you can apply a volume lash in between those lashes to make them fuller. So I'm gonna try that one. So definitely let me know what you guys think. Comment down below if you agree, you disagree, let me know. If you guys have any extras that you want to add, let me know, because I can do a part 2 on this. But there's so many things that are changing and evolving, so we have to kind of like go with the flow, you know? So don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll be back with something new next time. Bye!